Not necessarily the best time I've ever had modifying one of my creations. Uh, yeah, it's not even in the top 10. It wasn't difficult. Well, it was difficult. It was difficult enough to make it a little challenging. I've had more difficult rebuilds over my life. There was a disaster in 2025 from a few months back. That wasn't fun. Um, but that was a rebuild due to an accident. The disaster. Um, it's one of those things that back in the day I would have had my GoPro going or something like that. I haven't had to take a drink for 2 hours working on this thing, and now I start talking, and that's my life. But I'm loving it. I don't care what everybody else thinks. I wasted $60 before. I'm not above wasting $60 again for something as completely frivolous, but there it is. So it wasn't an extensive rebuild. The top was an extensive rebuild. This top layer here was an extensive rebuild because, of course, I had to modify the interior. Excuse me. I had to modify the interior to hold the platform, the magnetic electromagnet that floats the permanent magnet above it. But so that was a little bit of work. And what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to lose the interior of that level because it's part of this front where people see it. I might do some close-up video later, but I lowered the ceiling. Like this is 10 bricks tall. This from this grade to that grade is 10 bricks tall, and so therefore I had room. The platform in there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bricks above the floor. So 4 bricks for the to hide the electromagnet that floats the permanent magnet. So there's still room for minifigs to work in there. So the living space is 6 bricks tall instead of 10 bricks tall. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. I had to rearrange some of the lighting, blah, blah, blah. The wiring turned out to be the biggest issue because, of course, this thing is completely built, and I built it with the existing wiring in it so I could light it up, so I can see it's all lit up. So it so I had to take it apart to run the wire to the electromagnet platform, and this is the wire here. What I found, by the way, the connector is exactly the same as the Lego connector. I mean, the wall wart is 12 volts DC. This is not. This is 10 volt AC, if I remember correctly. It's 12 volts AC. Now, I still have my opinion on that because the track is DC, and I'm not sure if the train controller or the RCX converts this. I don't understand that. This thing says 12 volts AC. I thought this would be 12 volts DC. But it's exactly the same connector. I should actually figure that out sometime. So I don't know, years and years ago, I decided to build a wall wart into directly connected to something. So I snipped off the wire and I used the wall wart to connect, solder the leads to something. It was years ago, but I kept the wire. Now, not this. This is the original wall wart for the 9-volt system, the trains and the RCX. Later, they came out with a smaller one with this kind of wire, easier wire. So I still had that. So that's what's connected. So it's actually a Lego wire, a Lego 12-volt wire connected to the thing, the electromagnet inside. which I just extended so it can get to the, so I'll have to come up with a solution at a show, because the wire is not nearly long enough to get from the habitat back to the control center. So I have to figure that one out. But that's just part of the game. All part of the no expenses spared, no efforts spared for me making sure my layout is worthy of a show. I still, this thing, I have to do something about that. Things I have to fix. So so what I had to do is, again, if I do close-ups, I'll show you. Right in the back is where all the wires come down the outside, but not on the outside. I brick built a void, and like you'll see a support pillar here. I have 4 of them, one in each corner or each side, and that's what I run the wires through. But in order to run the big wire, the new wire through it, I had to take it level by level apart so I could go through each floor to get it down to the bottom, which is a bit of a mess when you got 2 layers of circles on each level, the inner and outer, and you have to try to put it back together. So that was, I've done it before. I'm not above doing it again. There are some parts that came apart in the inside when I did that, and I'm not going to worry about that. Shh, don't tell anybody. Somebody will be at a show and say, oh, one of your minifigs is laying down. He's having a nap. Got knocked over. Whatever. I wasn't going to go digging for it because that would require a complete rebuild. So no. But other than that, you can see that it is still spinning, and then you can just like touch it. It goes the other way. This, wow, it's got to be damp down here or something, or I'm just getting old. This is honestly a lot of fun. So what I might do now is take the camera off there and start a new video where I can just go through in some detail of what happened. The one problem is when I took it apart, and those who know, it's a little circle, and I did break a few. I'm not sure how they got broken because it wasn't like I was rough with it, but I think the stresses over the years, I had to replace a few 1x4 hinge plates. So that goes into a bit of doom. Sylvie. What else was there? Just the wire, the existing wiring. So I got my my whole power center over there on the floor, and I got a couple wires coming over here because of course I had to light this thing up just to verify. Just again, oops. Sometimes this thing's annoying. There we go. And to verify that the spotlight's on there and that the rest of the thing, after all my finagling with it and moving it around, that the whole thing lights up as it did. And even the electroluminescent wire, that was a little bit of fun trying to get that thing rewired inside and on the top, but you can't see the green right now. So in the end, I started last week sometime and a few hours. So this was about dedicated a 5 to 6 hour job. I did it when I could, possibly a little bit more, but ultimately worth it. I wanted to, halfway through, I thought as I was putting the platform building inside the habitat here, that I wanted to make the top removable, easier removable, like use some tiles instead of plates to connect the top to the rest of it. So I could pop it off and take that out just in case I wanted to display something else without it being in the habitat. But it just got way too cumbersome to try to make the top removable easily removable. So I said, screw it. It's built in there. If I want to take it out, yes, I'm unbricking the top and taking it out, which is going to be a little bit annoying because there's a lot of wiring that's going to be in the way. But I don't see me wanting to do anything else with it right now. And if I really wanted to, I'll spend another $60 and order another one. So this one's staying in here until I take the habitat apart. I have a few more ideas for the layout for Bricks in the Six that I might, I can't keep anything hush hush, but if it works, I think it'll be another value added service, but I'm looking for the parts and pieces for it now. I was talking to my friend Vlad at the last Lego dinner at Swiss Chalet, and he came up with an idea that has been bouncing around in my head for years. So he said he might have some parts, but I'm going to find hopefully something at Value Village that will do just as good a job, and I might have some other, not necessarily for the habitat, but somewhere else in the layout. I also, somebody was talking to me at the show in La Belle Provence, the Bricomanie, and they said, Dave, why don't you have this here at the show? And I'm going, why didn't I have this here at the show? This thing's been sitting on the thing, and it's got one wire. Like this thing is not rocket science to connect and to RCX. And so I am going to, for the show in Bricks in the Six, this is on the list of things I want to be at Bricks in the Six. As this thing will be at Bricks in the Six with one of those, my hand wave, my patented RCX hand wave thing. So you wave your hand and the radar dish spins. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as my moving art, but it'll spin and stop, and it'll be a random time, and you wave your hand, it'll go back and forth, whatever. So it's a quick little thing, and I'm gonna have to set up my little hand waving station. I already built two. I forget where the second one is right now, but it's around here somewhere. I do have two built of my hand waving stations, and of course I have enough RCXs to last me a lifetime. So I don't see a problem with this being at the show. I'm probably gonna have it like right up front so people can see it, and the hand waving will be right on the layout close to it. That's a plan. I thought about that after Bricomania when somebody mentioned that they saw it on the video that I did a while back. I guess I completely forgot about this thing. And they said, why isn't he here? I'm going, why? Yes, that's a very legitimate question. I just never got around to it. So the plan is that one and not this one. I would love to have this in the layout. I would absolutely love to have this in the layout. The issue is the reset of this takes seconds, and people are just going to keep on walking past. They're going to wave their hand and walk because this thing is so slow to move and slow to change and blah, blah, and you have to reset it to back to zero every time, which takes a little bit of time. So I don't think this is going to be at Bricks in the Six, although it would be nice to have it at Bricks in the Six, but I don't think this is going to be at Bricks in the Six. We shall pontificate and ruminate and debate. I just have this way. I always built a standalone model. I have one of these in my office at work. I brought this one to work. My one at work is a little smaller. This one's actually a little bit bigger than the office. But and people actually see it and they say, "Ooh, Dave's got Lego," and then that leads into the discussion and show them a video, a video or two, as I might have on the YouTubes. So there are plans in the works for Bricks in the Six, and I do have some ideas. I think this one's a done deal. I'm not going to put I don't think any more effort into it. At this point, the habitat's rebuilt. Not as nice as it originally was, but nobody aesthetically on the outside, there's zero difference. Inside, there's some loose pieces, which it'll bother me. I'll be perfectly frank. It will bother me to know that inside there are loose pieces, and I just can't. I would have to take it apart fully. I'd have to take the layer right off, and then if you have built something like this and you have to get into the interior and you try to take it apart, it's not going to just break nicely all the way around on one layer. It was a jagged, all these pieces broke differently, and then the windows fall out and blah, blah, and you're trying to put it back together and the windows keep on falling down. It wasn't the easiest thing, and so therefore I am not going to touch it again. I'm not going to take the thing apart again. I will, before Bricks in the Six, fix the train track, because the train track's a little kind of loosey-goosey, but that will not involve taking apart the entire habitat. The train track on the outside, I can get free access to and easy access and fix it. So that's the habitat for now. Here's me making it dance like a bobblehead. Here's the odd thing. I think I understand the physics behind it. So if you get it shaking up and down, so let's get it shaking up and down a little bit. The shaking up and down stops after a few minutes. It just stops. But the spinning goes on literally for hours, that speed. It'll just keep on spinning and spinning, especially if it's on a flat surface. It's on a bit of a slope surface, which the table is, and I propped this thing up so it's not as flat. I mean, it's more flat than it was. It will. We went out for 4 or 5 hours and it was spinning when I came home. So, and I don't know if I stop it. And it's probably going to be, it is going to be the 918 at the show because I'm falling in love with it. I mean, I could use one of my little Delta Wing things here, but the 918 hides the permanent magnet better, and it just looks nicer. I think it just looks really, really perfect up there spinning. I have done a lot of things in this layout that I step back and I say, "Ooh, that was pretty good." Pat myself on the back for doing that. It doesn't happen too often. Most of the stuff I think is remedial at best, and everybody tells me how awesome it is. But I am my own worst critic. It's the imposter syndrome, but we talk about that later. This value-added service, the second I took it out of the box and had it working, going, this has, I mean, this is the potential realized. There's not much more you can do with this in a layout. So I did think about building a ship where you actually don't see the puck, the permanent magnet, but then it would be down lower to the landing pad because it only floats an inch above the electromagnet. So you don't have a lot of wiggle room, and you can't make it that heavy. So I think this, especially in lights out, because, it'll be fine. I do want to get my 918 that lights up in here, although the lighting up makes it a little heavier, 2 AAA batteries. But I think that would be really cool if it was lit up. It's still going and still shaking up and down. That's interesting. It doesn't usually do that. What time is it anyway? I do not know what time it is. I think it's bedtime. I'm going to go to bed on time tonight. So that's it. That's all. I hope you like it. I know I do. And we'll talk more. You guys all stay safe.